Joining me now is the 42nd President, Bill Clinton.
Thank you, Vince.
Mr. Bush, welcome to KYW News Radio.
Yes, thanks for having me.
In the news at this hour, police...
Hey, that's Vince Hill. Yeah, that Vince Hill. You know the guy at KYW News Radio? You listen to him 2, 3, 4 times a day. He's a friend of mine and my former professor. He's probably a friend of yours or your former professor too. And look, at one time, old Vince had hair.
The thing that made Vince stand out is when he came in the newsroom, he looked like a palm tree. I couldn't get my eyes off that afro.
He had the curly locks. He used to stand next to Vince at parties just to get his leftovers. What hair? Take your hat off, Vince. You got hair? You don't have no hair. The Mustang was hot. That car was really, really fast. I used to race the 240 against him, and he used to blow me away every time. We were like Batman and Robin in that thing.
It's the car, right? Chicks love the car.
I wanted to work in urban radio. He wanted to be in an area that a lot of people didn't think was achievable for an African-American male to attain.
When things are just all over the place, you know, he's the one, he's the quiet center in the middle of the room.
One of the problems with sometimes managing news people is they may be great journalists, but they may not necessarily understand the mission in terms of programming, and Vince does understand that, so it's very helpful.
He kind of had a calling to this, and I don't really remember how it evolved. You know, I think he was like born to do this.
There's always one, if you're lucky, or two that you don't ever have to worry about. And Vince was always like that.
I couldn't do my job without Vince, and I doubt very much he could do his without me.
Vince, who was the inside reporter, gave him the information and said, this is bigger than they're letting on.
He told us how he was getting shut down in every venue to try and figure out how serious the fire was at Great Adventure. So Vince asked a question that had nothing to do with anything. It was a procedural question. How many body bags are you taking with you? That allowed the medical examiner to answer his question, but not say whether or not there was any fatalities.
Vince was the one who nailed the story.
So that story alone taught me several things, which I've used, and then I also lecture for Vince sometimes in other universities I've gone to now, and I use that story all the time as an example.
Vince was just a natural talent. I mean, he understood not just how to read, but how to write, and could have taught most of the classes he taught at Temple then.
Vince was great as a teacher, mainly because what Vince offered that a lot of professors in any subject didn't offer was practical experience.
He seemed hard at times. I got a lot of papers back with red marks up and down. I thought I was in danger of failing, but he said, don't worry about it, you're good. But he's a perfectionist.
He put the fear of God in people. Those who can do, those who can't teach. What was always amazing about Vince is he did both. I remember that he didn't use a book because he didn't think at the time that there were no books out there that were good enough for his class.
Reporting live from the Washington, D.C. Convention Center.
Reporting live from the eye of Hurricane Bertha in St. Martin.
From the Business Center, this is Vince Hill, KYW News Radio.
I got a brain freeze. Oh man, I can't think of anything right now.
When I originally went for Vince's class, it was already full. And being a news writing class, you can only let so many kids in because you have only so many computer monitors. When I got there, I was the 5th kid trying to sign into the class over the total. So when I got there, he said, well, you can sit in, but it would take 5 people to drop the class. So Vince, you know, taught his class. He does normal bluster and how tough it is in news, and you got to be tough, and, you know, gave him the sense that he was not going to be necessarily easy on them. At the end of the class, 5 kids dropped out. So I got into the class. And as he was signing my override slip, he said to me, so you got in, you're lucky. Was it that bad? And I said, dude, you're a dick, and walked away from him, and that's how we became friends.
Clearly he's done something right because he has so many former students who speak so highly of him, and the fact that we're all giving up our Saturday morning to come here with no food, no real parking money, you know, that says a lot. That's it, y'all. That's pretty much it.
In 1976, I think it was, or back in the Eucharistic Congress in the mid-70s, Vince was at the Cathedral of St. Peter and Paul Basilica for a Mass, and there was a nun there who particularly attracted Vince. He talked to me, we were on the phone talking back and forth, and he said he just had to get a date with this chick. And he described her to me and talked about her and what she was doing and how she was, and I said, she's a nun. And Vince says, yeah, so what?
Thank you.
That's it? That's it? I got to sit in the car for 2 hours on the way home, and that's it?